Hey everyone, it's Blair here at Time Traded. Thanks for joining me this weekend. Today is Sunday, March 17th. Happy St. Patrick's Day to those who observe, which is kind of funny because observing St. Patrick's Day mostly involves drinking green beer. But anyways, I hope you're enjoying yourself this weekend. And I've got a few announcements before I get into the weekly video. Starting with fairly significant reorganizations of the TradingView scripts that you can see on the screen here. So I want to just summarize what changed so that everyone is aware of what happened this week. We did change around what is included in the TradingView script. The intention, I had two goals really. I wanted to make it faster, right? There's some new APIs that TradingView offers, and I adapted the script to take advantage of those to increase performance. So in some cases, it's 90% faster. So you should notice a significant improvement. The other thing I wanted to accomplish is bothering you less with requests to update your script. So now we have 1 year of data included in the TimeTrade's TradingView script. We accomplished that by shifting the intraday data points to a separate script. Okay, so basically we've split off what the old TradingView script did into two scripts. There's the new reorganized time trade script, and there's a brand new time trades intraday script. Okay. The third thing that I did is I included the level script. I'm a big fan of what the level script does. It's really simple. It just brings forward the prior trading days high, low, and close, and the prior trading weeks high, low, and close. So you can see that on your screen, and that is important because those levels typically indicate where other time frame traders will be entering the market. So there's a few things I'm going to ask you to do to take full advantage of this. Number one, please update your time trades TradingView script. Secondly, please find that time trades intraday script and favorite that. You're going to need that. The third thing is if you're using the level script, please stop using that. You don't need to use the separate level script. It's incorporated into both the TradingView and the intraday script. And then finally, I released a tutorial video and updated the user guide yesterday, so you can look for details there. All right, so that's the announcement. Let's flip over to TradingView here, and I want to go over last week's performance. Okay, so let me just clean this up a little bit so we can review how we did last week. Overall, it was a pretty good week. We got a tag here in this green box, so that's going to be called an A. And then we ended up following the lower track. I offered two options for price based on what the markets decided to do within this green box, and the market elected to take the lower option. So it looks like we're on our way here to the lower box, but I'm going to have some updates on that this week. Okay. So overall, I'm going to give myself an A for this one because we did get a tag in that green target box. All right. So what I want to start off this week is with a review of the juice indicator. So I'm going to flip over to time trades here, and let's just bring up IndieX. And the juice is the same across all of them. It's really just a measure of alignment across planets. Now, very easy to instantly notice this big juice spike on March 27th. Okay. Now, as I look at the data behind this, I think this needs a little bit of, I guess, work on my part to just validate this juice spike. I'm questioning why this is so high. So that is my homework for the next week. But I don't want you guys to overlook this spike here on March 20th, because when I look in the data, there's some very interesting things here, and this is not surfaced in either TradingView or in the web app at the moment. On the 20th of March, we have two rare four-planet lineups. Okay, so when I talk about juice, I always talk about how the juice is a measure of planetary alignment. Okay, the first alignment involves Mercury, Venus, Mars, and Pluto within 1.6 degrees of each other. Okay, so that's four planets basically within a straight line in 3 dimensions. The second lineup involves Earth, Venus, Earth, Juno, and Saturn. Okay, so we've got a gas giant and we've got our own little rock within 1.3 degrees of each other. So there's some very interesting energy coming up this week, and I don't want you guys to overlook this. All right, so this is a key part of the rationale for my update this week. Okay, we also see pivots in time trades on the 21st in NDX. And if we take a look at QQQ, it's the same. We also see a pivot here on the 21st. Okay. QQQ is also showing some big moves. I assume they're going to be down, continuation of this current move, but this is probability of a move in any direction. All right. And of course, can't forget, we've got spring equinox in the northern hemisphere here, sun at 0 degrees declination. So that is a huge declination event. Okay, so let's flip over to TradingView and we'll take a closer look at what's going on here. Okay, so we've got that juice spike that is peaking on March 20th, and that is Wednesday. All right, let's take a look at events. And other than the sun at 0 declination, which the actual time is 6:14 a.m. on Central Time, on Chicago time. Okay, that's something to be aware of here as well, is we've got that major declination event. Okay, and we also have the moon changing signs, as it always does. Let's take a look at that detail. There's some interesting patterns emerging here. A month ago, we had a big flush down starting with Moon in Gemini, Cancer, and it stopped in Leo. And we're right, it looks like we're repeating that pattern with a flush starting with Moon in Gemini. And then we've got, Moon in Cancer on Monday, and then Moon in Leo on Wednesday, the 20th. Okay. So that is something to consider. We also got, like, right after last month, right after Moon in Leo, Moon entered Leo, briefly made a low, and then it pumped up for most of the time in Leo. There was a big pump bar there. So that is coming right after that juice spike on the 21st, 22nd. All right, so let's take a look at our speed index here. We're gonna close the time trades indicator, and we're gonna turn on planetary lines and see what the speed index can tell us. Okay, so we've got this steep decline in speed index here. All right, and that was really the basis for this bidirectional forecast last week. It elected to choose the lower track, and we've got some planetary line support down here in the 17,600 region. And more importantly, we don't have any declination or nodal events. So there's nothing to really think that the speed index is going to invert over the next few days until we hit 0 degrees declination in combination with that, juice spike. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. So we've got the juice spike hitting at almost the same time as, at pretty much the same time as the sun hitting 0 degrees declination there. So that's a very interesting confluence leading to a potential trend change and in combination with the last month's pattern here, which saw a flush down heading into Moon and Leo, I'm going to be updating this forecast to basically reflect everything I've talked about here. So I've got an updated forecast here. So let's put that in. I'm going to update these rectangles here. So this rectangle here is at the same price as the original forecast rectangle. It's just a little earlier. All right. So I've got it starting Tuesday. It's basically centered around March 20th. Okay. With a 1-day orb. All right. So I think we're going to see a move down into this area here in the 17,000s. We may find some support in these planetary lines. Okay. But then I think we're going to see a replay of last month's move up in combination with this juice spike, this rare quad lineup, not just one, but two quad lineup juice spikes on Wednesday. So I think we'll see a pump up here. So what I want to do is update the path. Okay. So let's remove some of these older paths. I'm just going to hide these and hide these so it's a little bit easier to see. All right. And that's no longer a target box. This is no longer a target box. And this is no longer a target box. And this is no longer a target box. So now coming into next week, we've got two target boxes. Okay, we've got one basically the middle of the week centered around March 20th, plus or minus 1 day. And then we hit equinox, we get that big juice spike. And I'm looking for a pump up into this cluster of planetary lines here that includes the nodes, it includes the sun, it includes Venus and Mars. All right. So should be a fun week to trade. Lots of volatility, lots of movement here. It's definitely going to be a week where we want to manage our risk and not overdo it on the size. As always, this is not financial advice. This is just for education purposes to show you how we can use the time trades tooling to come up with a forecast. So this is basically what I'm showing in terms of how to combine all the different data points from time trades together into a coherent forecast that ticks and ties with everything that's going on. All right, so one last thing I want to share is just to align this, do a final check with the lunar signs. So here we've got a low Moon in Leo, and that aligns with last month low Moon in Leo, and then a pump up. It looks like 1.5 days. So a little pump up here into Moon in Virgo, and that would be Friday or maybe carry over into Monday. We shall see. So that's basically a 2-day orb here. All right, and then after that we will take it from there and see how this forecast performs, and then make any updates going forward. Beyond this coming week, we can see we've got Mercury square its nodes on March 28th. And we've got a number of other declination events happening here as well. Okay. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, one of the things that I promised you guys on Twitter is a very nice long setup on Tesla. Okay, so let's go and take a look at Tesla. One of the things I noticed just scanning here is that Tesla tends to have some very nice moves right around the Venus-Helio crossover. And share with you the configuration here of these planetary lines. It probably looks like way too many lines. Right now, all I've got is North Node, South Node, Venus-Helio, and it's scaled at 22.5 degrees. But for the purposes of this forecast, really, the scaling doesn't matter. If we want less lines, we could just 10x that actually and go to 225, and then it's probably a little bit easier to read. There we go. That's a lot easier to read. Okay. So what I noticed is that there tends to be major lows on or before a Venus Helio crossover. Okay. So we've got one coming up here, April 18th. All right. And if we go back in time and look at the last three crossovers here, let's just slide that down so it's more visible. We can see that we got very good tradable lows 14 bars before. That was in May of 2022. Okay. Here's another one, 12 bars before in January 2023. And another one, 13 bars before. Just slide this down so it's easier to see. You can see there 13 bars before the crossover was the low, and that's in August of 2023. And now we have this one coming up here, and let me just adjust that location. So if we kind of take the average of this 14, 12, 13, average it out to 13 bars, I think there's a hell of a buying opportunity over here, April 1st, April 2nd, plus or minus, right? Maybe it's April 1st. Yeah, I think that lines up a little bit better. I don't know what price is going to be around then. In a way, it kind of doesn't matter. Because I think we've got a heck of an edge here to be going long in this area. One of the things I noticed, Tesla is increasing prices at the moment. So they do seem to be boosting their margin. And they also have earnings coming up. So increasing prices, here we are in March. So that will take effect in the Q1 earnings that are scheduled to be announced April 17th, right on the day of the crossover. So if we get a good reaction, reasonably good earnings, I think there's a potential here for a nice pump based on this analysis. As always, manage your risk. This is just for education purposes. This is not financial advice. Okay, so that's Tesla. I'll be back shortly with a quick update on Bitcoin. Thank you. Okay, we're back looking at Bitcoin, and what I've done here is I've anchored a ruler to this January 23rd low, the low prior to this big pump that we're in Venus interval 2. And I've got a couple rulers here, all right? The top one is I'm trying to find a low to high cycle. So it looks like about 304 degrees of the moon is tagging that pretty well. So we've gone from low to high to high. That's syncing up pretty good. And we've got a second ruler here anchored to the same day. And I'm going from low to low. I'm trying to find the low to low cycle here. And in this case, I found that Mercury 91 and Venus 49 seems to be working the best. So just to double click on this, we've got Mercury Helio 91, Venus Helio 49. That's it. Those are the only two settings. So we can see how Mercury Helio 91 is tagged this low, this high. And we also have Venus Helio 49, which has hit once around that low, and it looks like it's going to hit again on March 24th. So what this is telling me is that based on this low to low cycle, we might be seeing a window for another low over here between the 24th and 28th. So if we flip over to the TimeTrade's web application and just check against the machine learning, what do we see here? We see a little window of increased pivots. It doesn't quite align with those dates. Those increased pivots start around April 1st and April 4th. But we also see big probabilities of a move here starting April 27th, 22nd. Again, we don't know what direction this move probability is. Could be up, could be down. But based on the cycles that we're seeing here displayed by the ruler, it looks like we have hit the extent of the cycle up over here with this peak on March 13th, up and around the 73K range. And it looks like we're on the backside of that cycle now. All right. So what I'm looking for, what I'm assuming then and or interpreting based on the combination of the cycles and the machine learning that we see over here in time trades, we see a peak of a move. I think this move is going to be down over here on March 22nd. And then I think we're going to see a pivot, which I think I'm interpreting is going to be a low in early April. All right. And then what looks like a pretty big window of high probability moves over here throughout April, which I think is going to be up. All right. So what we're seeing really is a bit of what I think will turn out to be a bit of volatility in the Bitcoin price over the next few weeks as we navigate through this period of the equinox, and also as we transition into Venus interval 3. Venus interval 2, of course, has delivered yet again an incredible, highly profitable run. And just to double check, Venus interval 3 starts Thursday the 28th. So I think there's going to be a little bit of volatility here as we cross that boundary into interval 3. I still think there's a lot more to go in this bull run in crypto and Bitcoin. So whatever low actually happens, if there is a low, who knows, it's going to be short-lived, and I do think we're going to continue on to new all-time highs in interval 3. Okay, so that's it for Bitcoin. I'm going to skip gold today. I'm a little bit behind on the schedule and don't really have a good take on gold anyways. So I hope you had a great week trading. I hope you enjoyed this week's video. And remember, please trade safe, manage your risk, and we'll talk to you again next week. Thank you. Bye now.